Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to Real Estate Confessions, where real estate cultura and generational wealth collide. We are three real estate girlies, spilling the tea, closing deals, and confessing everything. Yes, you heard that right. Everything. From wild client stories to generational building wins, nothing is off limits here. So let's confess. Today's guest is someone very important and that every real estate investor needs to hear from. Brenda Noriega. She is a commercial risk advisor who has helped investors and landlords avoid costly insurance mistakes. Please help me give a warm welcome to Brenda Noriega.
Thank you.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
¿Cómo
How are
estás?
you? Muy bien, gracias.
Well, thank you so much for coming all the way from Indiana.
I promise you it's a lot closer than it sounds.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit of your story and how is it that you went from being a hairstylist to now risk managing consultant.
Yes. Yeah, I'll make it a short story and give you all the good details to it. But essentially, I went to beauty school and I went to business school, and my initial thought was I want to own beauty salons. Like, that's what I want to do. And so I did have the opportunity to manage a salon where I had worked. They owned 7 different businesses. It was family-owned salons. And it was an experience. I got completely burnt out. And looking back, I'm like, you know what? I just did not have the right leadership skills. I did not have the right mentorship or anything. I was given a book that was called like the 1 Minute Manager, and it was like, okay, on your way.
You're set.
Yeah, exactly. And so when I realized that I just couldn't do that long term, I decided to just start applying to wherever and whenever. I'm like, oh, I got a business degree. Like, what can I do? And I ended up getting 2 job offers. One was with the state of Illinois, and then one was with my local State Farm agent. And that was a really tough decision for me because my parents kind of kept pushing me to go to like the state of Illinois. And I think maybe it was like, being a daughter of immigrants, they're like, that's safe.
Yeah,
that is
that's
a
correct.
safe
The
thing
pension
to do.
and yeah.
Exactly. And they're like, yeah, there's a pension, there's benefits, there's all this, all that. And then, so I had an opportunity to actually talk to people that worked with the state and then people that worked in insurance, specifically an Allstate agent. And the person that worked for the state said, you know what, if you're looking for job security, if you're looking to have a pension, you have benefits and this and that, this is where you want to be. And when I asked about what opportunities look like for growth, he's like, well, you have to wait for the next position to open up. And usually that doesn't happen until they retire or they get promoted or they like die, essentially. No one's really leaving their roles. And that did not sit well with me. And when I talked to the Allstate agent, he's like, you know what? It's very rewarding. It's rewarding because you get to build relationships with your clients. You get out what you put in.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like the fact that I could have control over my growth, right?
Yeah.
Like really there was no cap is how I saw it. And so that's the decision I went in. But I would say like the nicest thing is that the relationship with my clients in the chair are the same relationships that I get to have with my clients across the desk. Like it's all relationship and it's all still helping them get to a better place in their lives, essentially.
That's awesome.
So now, what does your day-to-day look like?
Yeah.
Like, I imagine it's more than just policies and paperwork. You just
Yes.
mentioned it was about building relationships and that. So walk us through your day.
Okay. I love that my day-to-day is different every day. That is, you know what? I could literally not sit at a desk every day and just, crunch away or document stuff. And so I would say maybe a week to week would be a better perspective. So some weeks it is just client meetings, whether it's a new opportunity or whether it's a renewal. We're talking about what that's going to look like, what the next steps are. The relationship building portion, essentially networking, I have built something that I learned that was really important for me was building what we call like centers of influence.
Okay.
And so essentially what that means for me are people that can see opportunities with their own networks and then think of me when those opportunities come up. So for me, that would be like a corporate attorney. It would be an HR consultant, a CPA, commercial real estate agents, commercial lenders, and building those relationships in order to, you know, provide me some opportunities. But what else would I do in my week?
So I guess how
Yeah.
does you being an insurance agent
Yes.
collide with real estate?
Yeah.
How can you help someone
Yes.
who either whether they're a agent
Yes.
or an investor, landlord?
Yeah. So if they're an agent, some of my advice is the things to look out for when you're looking at a new property for your investor, for your client. I guess maybe not go too deep into it, but one of those things is called COPE: construction, occupancy, protection, and exposure. And so when you're going to go look at a new opportunity for your client, is realizing those are the things that the underwriters are looking at as well. That's what pricing is going to be calculated off of. That's what the coverages are going to essentially, they're going to restrict it or they're going to be expanding it. But they're going to look at what's the building made out of. What was the year that it was built? That's construction. Occupancy. Who are the tenants in that building? Are they like a fireworks distributor or are they like a hair salon? Protection class. Do they have a sprinkler system? Is there a restaurant in the building and there's no sprinkler system? Like that's a big red flag, and that's going to make it a lot more difficult for you in your process as a commercial real estate agent to secure the coverage that you're going to need for your client if you're kind of not seeing these red flags from the beginning. And then exposure, essentially that's where is this building located? How close is it to the fire department or to the police department? Is there high winds there? Is it prone to fires? Like, so all of that, you know, I teach that to commercial real estate agents. I educate them. I tell my agents, like, call me whenever you want. If you're ever not sure and you just want me to look at a building, I will take a peek at it, like online. I can tell you everything you need to know right now and what some of those difficulties might be. For investors and property owners, it's essentially the same thing because, again, they need to know who's in the building, what's the building made out of, protection and all of that. But on top of that, as landlords, they need to make sure that they are transferring risk. So how does that happen? Well, it's in the lease agreement. And in that lease agreement, you're essentially asking your tenants what kind of coverage to carry and to add you as additional insured onto their programs as well. So that's something that I can help real estate investors with, commercial property owners with, is that risk transfer component.
Okay. So let's take a step back.
Yeah.
For people who might not know what the difference is between a regular insurance agent for residential and commercial, can you break down what your role actually entails and what you do? Because when we were doing our homework, I think we were confused between the residential and the commercial.
Absolutely.
So can you give us a little breakdown?
Yes. So there's like two worlds that we live in essentially. So the first one, I call it, it's a captive world. So this will see like our State Farms and our Allstates, and that's what we consider personal lines. They're mainly dedicated to personal lines, home insurance, commercial auto, life insurance, and small business, which would be like your normal mom and pop shops down the street. Then we have the brokerage world. In the brokerage world, we are not locked into one single carrier. We have contracts with maybe 20 to 30 different carriers that we can work with. And depending on the risk, we can place it with the appropriate carrier. So a risk management consultant that focuses on commercial is really the way that I see it, and the way that I do this for my clients is just being a strategic business partner with them. So aside from insurance, because that's my main technical expertise is insurance and transferring risk, is figuring out do they have, and again, it just depends on industry. Like if it's construction, safety processes and procedures. They have fleet safety programs. what else? I'm like trying to think what else because I don't want to confuse you because even my family is like, what do you do? And I'm like, I insure businesses. And they're like, yeah, but what does that mean? I'm like, well, I look at the risk. I look at, let's say, for the focus of real estate, right?
So I'll give you an example. So right now, actually, so I have a client. We're going to buy a 6-unit building.
Okay.
We're trying to get insurance. Actually, so can I call you for a quote for that?
Right. Yeah, you can absolutely call me. I can help you walk through the process. Absolutely. But yeah, if you want to take that example, my initial questions would be, okay, 6-unit building, is this all habitational? Is there commercial involved? What does that look like?
Residential.
So it's all habitational and it's 6 units. Those are, I would say right now, those are more difficult to place because if you think about it, there's 6 kitchens that are open 24 hours a day. And that's the same way that an underwriter is going to look at it as well. So they're going to want to know, are there fire extinguishers in every single unit? Are there exits clearly marked in the premise? Are there sprinkler systems? Is there a fire alarm? Are they battery operated or are they embedded in the wiring? Yeah, exactly. So it kind of like the questions just start to open up and really dig into what it is that's actually there.
Because we've gotten a lot of pushback from other companies. I'm not going to say any names, but companies that were like, hey, you know what? We're not insuring any more multi-units that were like converted from being a house to. And so that's another thing that I've been telling my clients now. Like, hey, before we put in an offer, as soon as they're interested, I actually call. Well, I have an insurance person I go to, but honestly, he's like, don't call me anymore because like most of the ones you send me are like not insurable. Like, I think you should really look for other options. So he told me up front, he's like, so I call him even before I put in an offer, I actually call my insurance person beforehand so I can say, can you even insure this? Because that's a situation that we're running into now that a lot of people are not aware of. When you're an investor or even like a regular buyer, you know, depending on where you're buying, you have to make sure you can insure it.
100%. And that's what I was talking about too. When we're talking about COPE, these are all the things like it would help you, right? And obviously you don't have to be the expert in everything. You can obviously lean on your partners to give you some additional insight on that too.
Okay, but that's good to know.
I will be calling you. As soon as you said 6 unit habitation, I was like, oh no.
I will be calling you a lot. Okay, you might turn me away eventually too. Like that guy, he's like, just stop calling me. Don't send me anymore.
And you know what? It's all about market capacity. So. For me personally, I would say that my strengths are in commercial properties, so like strip malls, warehouses, things like that. But there are partners that I have as well that are habitational, that maybe they're single family home, right? So regardless of whatever it is, I always say, just give me a call. We'll figure it out together.
Okay. I love that. I love that. Absolutely. So what do you think as being first gen? What do you think have been some of your major challenges that you've encountered and that maybe some other people have encountered the same? And what would be your biggest obstacle and how did you overcome that?
In the insurance world, like
I think just personally, I think because we have a lot of people who watch us who are just like, hey, I don't even know where to get started. Like, I don't know where to go. I don't have any guidance. And a lot of us, you know, being first gen, we don't have any guidance. We're really like fighting for our lives, like figuring it out on our own. So maybe like some advice for people who might want to get into the insurance industry.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I would say that, if it wasn't for being burnt out at the salon, I would have never discovered this as a career opportunity. And so I'm grateful for that, right? Because one no leads to another, yes. But for first gens, I would say there are programs in high schools and in colleges that allow you to tap into mentorship. Talk to as many people as you can about the different career opportunities that there are, and don't be closed off to them because they might sound boring. Insurance sounds very boring. Like, you know, when I was first thinking about it, I'm like, oh, who would want to do this? And as soon as I got into the world, it was a lot of fun because it was about relationship building. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of whining and dining going on as well. So I get invited to Cubs games, I get taken out to fancy restaurants, and that's like the fun part, right? But it's very technical, very knowledge-based business. For the first gens, that's one advice. Get out there, talk to as many people as you can from a bunch of different career backgrounds, and just, you know, try it out. Just try it out and see if it's a fit for you. Don't close off to something because it's not. what people think is cool,
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
And for me, not only was I first gen, I was also the first daughter, so I was kind of like
girl.
paving my own way. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you understand. So it was difficult just to figure out like what were the opportunities available.
Yeah.
Thankfully, when I was trying to make my decision about either going into insurance or working with the state of Illinois, I had a mentor from college that helped me through that. And she's the one that connected me with someone that worked at the state to have that conversation.
Yeah.
She's the one that connected me with the Allstate agent to talk to him and pick his brain. And that helped significantly. So that's why I always say talk.
So it sounds like mentorship was something that was huge for you.
Absolutely.
I've also noticed from your social media is that you're also involved a lot in the community, and I see that you try to do events to give back.
Yeah.
Is that something that you want to share with us about how you got started and what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah. So when I was first with State Farm, I was invited to do first-time homebuyer seminars. So that was my exposure to outreach in the community. And I had just a blast with that. And now that I'm on the commercial side, I have realized that it's the same thing. You can do the same thing because there's a lot of people out there that want to become entrepreneurs and just don't know how to do it. And you still need a team. Just like when you're buying a home, you still need a full team to start a business. You need your insurance person, your lender, your real estate agent, just like all these different moving parts. So that's very satisfying to me to be able to help those people. The other outreach I would say that I do is technical knowledge in the construction space. Construction has just been fascinating for me, and I see a lot of minority and women-owned businesses that maybe they don't get the opportunities to get onto these bigger projects. They don't have the connections or whatever that may be. And so when there's an opportunity to present to those organizations, I all over it. And I say yes, and then I teach them the requirements that they're going to need, because I don't want them to not get an opportunity because they didn't have the right insurance. I don't want insurance to ever be a hurdle to get on a project or anything like that.
How do you help insure these projects? So you mentioned like the construction workers.
Yeah.
So how do you build that relationship initially and then get to talking about insurance?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I would say I have sought out organizations that focus in on construction. And so for me, I'll put a shout out to Hasia. They focus on the Hispanic, minority-owned, women-owned construction industry to get them into these bigger projects and bring more diversity into these bigger projects, like with the CTA or with the big GCs. And so that's really the best way to do it, is just to find the organizations that have the market that you're looking for, and then go and be involved, but offer value to them. And so for me, it's connecting with this organization and then saying, hey, look, like, I know insurance can be a hurdle to get onto these projects. I would be happy to provide free workshops. Literally, it's free workshops on A, B, and C in order to gain more knowledge and get a foot in the door, essentially.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a place of you're offering advice, your expertise, and then you're getting in return, you're getting leads. That's the best way to do it.
Because then you build that relationship too, right? Because you generally want them to succeed.
Yeah.
And you can tell when people are very ambitious and they're like, I'm going to get on this project no matter what. Like, you want to help them and you want to see them get on the projects. And once they do and they call you, they're like, I got the contract, I got the bid, I got awarded. And it's so satisfying.
Can you go over what insurance landlords or investors would need in like certain properties?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, it's your commercial property, right? So if you're the building owner, you want to insure the building itself and the general liability. So those are the two main components of the insurance program for an investor. Now, you also want to make sure that your tenants have their own insurance. And again, we talked about that with the lease agreement, because your liability program should really be secondary. So if they cause any damage, theirs goes first, and then yours, for whatever reason, gets triggered, acts second. You want to be as far away from that claim as possible. But those are the two main ones. If that organization's really big, let's say it's like a group of investors or just like an investment organization, sometimes they'll have a board of directors at that point, right? So it's a pretty big organization. Then you would need like directors and officers insurance or something like that. But it's just really commercial property and general liability.
So besides like putting it in the lease and I guess it's like checking it as soon as they're moving in and stuff, how often should landlords like be requesting to see that? Or like I've had to request them to pull permits for some work, but other than that, like I don't really see them. So how do you enforce like everyone being on top of it?
Annually.
Okay.
I would do it once a year. And everyone's insurance is going to renew different, right? If one tenant starts in February with you and then another starts in October, just pick one date and have them always give you a certificate of insurance for that year, really.
Okay.
Yes.
I've also heard of this other thing in a podcast of, but I've never had any experience in it. It's like lost rent coverage in your insurance.
Okay.
Do you?
Yes. Business income, lost rent. Yes.
Okay.
So in the event that, let's say there is a fire in the premise, the building burns down, and none of your tenants can be there, right? So they're not going to pay you to be where they can't be. Maybe they're going to go somewhere else and start their business there or leave somewhere else temporarily. Well, one, their own insurance program should be able to help with that. Because you as the landlord, you have no responsibility to them. Like they would be paying all that out of pocket if they didn't have their own insurance. You as the landlord, as the building owner, if you do suffer a loss and you do suffer loss of rent because of that loss, then your policy would kick that coverage line activated, and then it can help you essentially maintain that, what do they call it? The rent rolls?
Yeah.
The rent rolls going.
Okay.
So,
but it would be like in case of like an extreme, like an emergency, not necessarily like a tenant ending a lease soon or.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
It would have to be, the trigger is a covered loss.
So keyword covered.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had a situation where I had this landlord where he was renting it out, but I don't think he ever updated his policy. And that's not something else as real estate agents that we should educate our clients on. So he didn't change it because I think he just forgot.
Yeah.
And so it was on our lease that we needed them to have insurance. For Dia de los Muertos, they put out a candle and the house burned down.
Oh, no.
Because they left it unattended. Yeah. So then they wanted my client to try to cover that, but obviously they were like, wait a minute, like, was this a rental?
Right.
You know? And then that was like, that was a whole other issue. But so that's key to make sure that you're keeping up with that, with that rental insurance and with your rental for your tenants, because that can be an issue, and you know that's something that they will also investigate. Correct? Like if something seems shady.
Yeah. So yes. Oh yeah. Insurance. The adjusters. Yeah, they're gonna come in and be like, was this intentional?
Yeah.
You know, like they're gonna try to find a way to maybe like not pay, of course, but you know, accidents do happen, and when they do happen, they do get covered. But in that situation, absolutely, the building owner, right? They have their building insured and they have their own liability, but they're not covering the tenant's personal property. And that's why that $10 a month renter's insurance
is worth it.
It's absolutely worth it. Yeah. I mean, with one loss that you paid $120 for, and I had when I was at State Farm, someone that was renting, and the renter's policy did pay for them.
Wow.
And not only did it pay their personal property, it paid their stay at an Airbnb.
Wow.
For that whole time that their home was getting repaired.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's a deductible and how does that really work?
Yeah. So the deductible, I'm glad you asked this, because on the commercial side for commercial real estate agents, the carriers are now adding windstorm, wind, hail deductibles separate from your typical deductibles. And so they're doing that as a percentage of the loss, or I'm sorry, as a percentage of the building coverage. So I don't want to do math here, but let's assume that it's a $1 million replacement cost building limit, okay? And you have a 1% or 2% hail windstorm deductible, right? I mean, 1% of $1 million is what, that 100,000?
Yeah.
200,000? And most people don't even pay attention to that. They're like, oh, 1%, one hail deductible, not a big deal. No, it's 1% of the building replacement cost.
Wow.
And so if you're not paying attention to that, I mean, you're going to have to pay it out of pocket, right? The other deductible is for any other losses, fire, theft, vandalism. And typically you can decide what that is, $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever is your risk tolerance, that's essentially what you'll set it at.
Wow, that's really good info, because I don't think I ever looked at it like that. That's great info.
Yeah. No, yeah, even like for my car insurance, it's like the deductible 50 per 100 whatever per person. And I'm just like, okay. And I don't really look into it that far, but even in the commercial side, like people should really take account.
Oh, 100%.
But would you think that goes back to the person itself or the insurance agent that needs to explain that?
Oh, your insurance agent should absolutely 100% be pointing that out to you. Absolutely. Because even if let's say it's a new opportunity, I'm going to look at that program and be like, did you know that you had a 1% wind hail? And they're going to be like, what does that mean? I'm like, well, let's do some math here. And sometimes people are really shocked to find out, oh, it's a $25,000 deductible for this property. I'm like, yeah. So because there's been so many wind hailstorm claims, the insurance carriers are really trying to avoid paying out as much as possible. Yeah.
So I think I don't think I've ever met anybody who's like, I want to pay more insurance. So is paying the cheapest insurance the best thing for a client?
No. No, it's not. You get what you paid for. It definitely is at the end of the day. And so you want to make sure that you're with a reputable company, A+ rated company. That means that they have the financial backing to pay the claims. You want to make sure, I think it's like XV or something like that, their financial capacity, same thing. Just make sure that if they go bankrupt, they're not going to, because they're such a financially strong company. There are some carriers out there that are very, 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 I'll call it affordable, to avoid the word cheap. And, there's just so much to commercial property policies. There's something called co-insurance. Basically, it's saying you need to at least insure your building at 80% of the replacement cost. And if you don't, well, there's a penalty at the time of loss. And most people don't know that. So their policy can be super cheap because they wanted to underinsure it, and they still have this co-insurance on there. And then there's a loss. Not only do you have the deductible to be, responsible for, but then you also get penalized for underinsuring the property at the time of loss, and then you get a lot less than you would if you had properly insured the property.
Wow.
Yeah. So how often would you say like owners should be checking in with their insurance agent to like evaluate the value going up or?
Yeah, that's such a great question. You know what? During the time that COVID started to, I would say maybe 2 years ago, I would have said to look at it annually because the replacement costs were changing dramatically with the material costs, with the labor costs. And so you had one property that might have been insured for, let's say, $100,000, and the next year it really would have taken $150,000 to rebuild that building, and then the next year it would have taken $250,000, really just being driven from material costs and labor costs. Now I would probably say maybe every 2 years, I would say right now, because things are still changing. If there's any volatility in our materials in our construction world, I would say check it more often than not. Just to make sure you're not underinsured.
That's great. But then that means that my premium is going to
go up.
I'm like, no, it's the same.
I know, it's so difficult because property's been just so brutal these past couple years because of that. Not only have there been higher costs to rebuild, there have been a higher number of claims, and it was just the insurance companies did not anticipate, just like we all didn't anticipate, that it would cost so much more today to rebuild the same house that it took only 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So there weren't enough premiums collected beforehand.
That makes sense. Yeah, and that's a reason why sometimes rent goes up, guys. If you're watching, you're a tenant. We're not just increasing your rent because we want to be jerks. Really, insurance does go up, and you have to pay. You have to pay because if not, you don't have a mortgage on it. Unless you don't have a mortgage, then you have to.
YOLO,
have insurance. Right. But then that's also a high risk.
Yes.
So well, I guess going back to more of Brenda.
Okay.
So you're obviously first daughter. What do you think? How has it been being a person of color and obviously a female into this business world? Coming into the business world, do you think that you've had any pushback or anything that's been more difficult than other people would?
Okay. In all of my years, so I've been in insurance now for 11 years and on the commercial side for 6. I had only one person really say something that I considered negative, which of course I didn't pay attention to. But when I first broke into the brokerage side, I was on the service side. I did not want to be in service. I wanted to be in sales. Mm-hmm. And, I was like, you know what? I got my foot in the door. It's okay. But I told everyone I want to be in sales. Like, this is my ultimate goal. And I was sharing this with a manager, and he right away was like, well, as a woman, it's not going to be that easy. Like, what if you want to have a family and then, like, your husband? And I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, how old are you? Like, you are so old school. That's a totally old school mentality.
Yeah.
But insurance, especially in the commercial insurance world, on the broker side, it's very technical, very knowledge driven. And so your value comes from how much do you know, not who you are. And so I can't say I've faced any negativity based on my gender or anything like that. But I will say that the diversity is like almost zero. At my last agency, I attended my first sales event, and out of probably 80 different agents, from personal lines to the commercial property casualty to the employee benefits, if I walked out of that room, diversity left with it, essentially. No lie. And I'm not sure exactly why. I'm not sure if it's because we aren't familiar with those kind of opportunities. If we don't see it as a good opportunity, I'm not truly sure why that is, but I know that I am trying to share this with the younger generations. I do speak at high schools, and I share with the either the girls or guys there that this is an opportunity. This is a great hidden gem of a career, and that we do want to see more diversity in those upper ranks of the brokerage world, because it doesn't really exist. But
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's great. So you're representing us
in
the insurance world. I love that.
And you know what? To give you something on the flip side, I would say that if anything, I've gotten a lot more encouragement because I am the minority. My mentor, he always cracked me up. He would say things like, Brenda, like, you should go after like those Latino-owned businesses, like, and these are his words, not mine. He's like, it might be easier because like I'm a widow, so they don't want to talk to me. He's like, but you, like, it's just so natural, and you could connect with them right away. And so he really opened my eyes to that kind of opportunity. So, I mean, I've been so grateful, I would say, and blessed that I haven't really had any negativity.
That's awesome.
Pushed my way in that regard. Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
I've been discriminated against.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was necessarily because I'm Hispanic.
Yeah.
But when I first started in real estate, I had a buyer's appointment, and this guy was Hispanic too. He came with his brother, I think.
Yeah.
So I had the consultation, greeted them, talked a little bit and get to know them. And when I started getting like more in depth about like kind of like what they're looking for and everything, the guy had the audacity to look me up and down and was like, "What, do you even know what you're doing?"
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I just finished explaining the entire buying process. I was like, what are you confused on?
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to get at what he, 100%. And he was just like, he was still looking me up and down. I'm just like, okay, I'm like, well, thank you so much for coming.
Right.
But now I don't feel comfortable working with you.
Right.
And
100%.
I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say, I'm trying to think now. I'm like, hold on. Now you're like kind of like fogging my memory.
Perfect, because it's confession
Confession
time.
time. Yeah, confession
Right
time.
on time.
Yeah. No, I would say it's more from clients, I think, than
So-
it is from coworkers.
So
Okay.
what's
Yeah.
a wild insurance claim that you've seen that was made and you're like, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, so at this time, my book of business is, I would call it's still a baby. So it's still young. So my clients haven't had any claims yet.
That's good.
I'm sure at some point it'll happen. But I have heard other wild stories, and I'm trying to think like, which one should I share? Because one of them's really like, it's kind of like really sad. So maybe I won't go down that route. But I will share this one because this one was more like publicly shared already. But it was a roofing contractor. Before they were my clients. They were working on a commercial building. It was commercial at the bottom, habitation at the top, and they were redoing the roof. They hired a subcontractor, and that subcontractor was doing a torch application. Well, it caught the building on fire. Second, there was no contract, no subcontractor-contractor agreement between that roofing contractor and the subcontractor, and that subcontractor did not have insurance.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, that was for my client. Now he was like, oh my God, do I leave the country or do I go and face this fire?
Yeah.
And of course he went and faced the fire, and he was just like, oh
Did you
my
guys
God.
sue?
So they were thankfully grandfathered into a program that did not exclude torch application or uninsured subcontractors.
Wow.
In today's world,
You'd never.
we have those exclusions on the programs now. So they were lucky, because I was surprised that it covered it. Because those were my first questions. I'm like, do you have a contract between you and them? They're like, no. I'm like, I wonder if they have an exclusion for uninsured subcontractors.
Wow.
And then two, do you have an exclusion for torch application? They're like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you need to talk to your agent, because, you need to figure this out. But thankfully, their program, they'd been with that carrier for 10 years. And so I think it just like kind of auto renewed. They never.
That is so lucky, because
So
that could have
lucky.
ruined their
Oh my
business,
gosh.
their life
100%.
actually, right?
That was right now. It's like a $350,000 claim,
Yeah.
and it's still not done. So
Wow.
yeah. So that was
goodness.
wild, but I'm happy it was covered. They did get non-renewed by their carrier.
Of course.
Yeah.
So then that's kind of when I stepped in and started to help them.
So, and I think that's a lot of people don't know that contractors need to be insured.
Oh, 100%.
Like, especially when they're doing work at your house, right?
Oh,
because
yes.
if say I hire somebody off the street,
Yes.
they fall off,
Oh, yes.
right? I'm still, because I hire them, right? I'm
Yes.
supposed to have some kind of contract with them or something, right? I assume.
You at least want to make sure that you're added as an additional insured onto their program, and that they provide you with the certificate of insurance, showing you that they have at least work comp and general liability.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks. We're gonna have to call you a lot.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I know. Oh.
What is the one insurance tip that, if you could give just one tip for homeowners or business owners, what would it be?
Business owners, it would be.
If it was just one, just one, and you were like off the boat, and you could only scream out one sentence.
If I could only scream out one.
Yeah, you're on the
Like,
Titanic. You're on the Titanic.
Oh my gosh.
The boat is sinking.
Yeah, the boat is
The
sinking.
boat is sinking, and I can only tell them one thing.
Yeah.
The reason that this is difficult is because every industry has its own thing that they need to know. So if it was, let's say, an investor, I would say the most important thing is to have a lease agreement. Even though it has nothing to do with insurance, it has so much to do with insurance. Because it's about, we're still transferring that risk. So have a lease agreement and tell your tenants to have their own insurance.
Okay. You're stuck in that extra one. You're trying to save you. What about homeowners?
For homeowners, don't do the cheapest option.
Okay.
I would say.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's tough. That's tough. I'm over here like, gosh, I already paid so much in insurance. But you're right.
I know. I mean, so yeah, same. You know, and I'm going out and I'm like, man, my homeowner's insurance went up by like $200. I'm like, I need to go shop this out. But it is easier to shop it out on the personal line side than it is on the commercial side, I would say.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So give us a food recommendation spot to check out, like a mom and pop.
I love, what is it? Greektown? Or Greek, what is it called? Greek Islands? No.
Oh,
It's Greektown, isn't it?
Greektown in Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh my God, their tzatziki sauce and their lamb. Oh, so good.
I think it's Greek Island in Greektown. Is it?
Oh,
is
Greek
that-
Island?
I don't know.
Hey, should we Google this real quick?
Okay. Who do you look up to in business?
Oh, in business. Oh, I have a couple, but the main one that I'm looking up to, let's say right now, is Daniel Lubitsky from Kind Bar. And I love his story of trying all these different businesses, almost failing, but, you know, keep on pushing through. I love what Kind stands for. He's a Mexican, Jewish, culturally, like his dad was Jewish, his mom was Mexican, and they met in Mexico. And so he talks a lot about his dad and surviving the Holocaust, and just, you know, that regardless of all the bad things that happened, that, you know, his dad always still chose to be kind. And Daniel has just built an incredible business around that, and just continues to support other entrepreneurs and helping them. So right now he's like my idol. Yeah.
Okay, and then leave us with a nugget.
When I started in insurance, when I started at State Farm, I remember sitting at my desk and just saying to myself, like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't do insurance, I do hair. And I remember in that moment, I also thought, you know what? I have to make this work. Like, I'm not going backwards, I'm going forward, and this has to work. And what I learned from that is if you go all in, you don't have a plan B, it will take you so much further than if you always like kind of have a backup plan. So burn the boats, don't have a plan B, and go all in.
Okay, that's great advice.
Yeah.
I feel like I needed to hear that because even today on my way here, I was like second guessing myself, like just personal.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no, like I kind of gave myself a reality check, you know? I was like, what am I thinking? I was like, I'm moving forward.
Yes.
So it was like, yeah, really do go all in,
Yeah.
burn the boats,
Yes.
burn them all,
Burn them all.
and just keep moving forward.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, with that being said, Brenda, thank you so much for
You're
joining
welcome.
us today at the Confession Couch. And for sharing your story from being a beauty guru to now insuring and just giving the security to these landlords, investors, and commercial.
Yeah, and
you.
inspiring us to dream bigger outside the box, because you're right, a lot of people don't know these opportunities exist. And you know, we're the biggest majority now, I think, in the United States, and so those opportunities are there. You just have to find them.
Yes, 100%.
All right, so if anybody wanted to reach out to you for more information, either about getting insurance or even just mentorship, how can they reach you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Talk Insurance to Me. And then you can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on both of those platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right.
And for our people listening, if you haven't reviewed your policy lately, now it's the time. This is your sign. And if you love this episode, make sure you like, share, and comment, and subscribe to Real Estate Confessions. And send this to that one friend who thinks coverage means just vibes. And we'll see you guys on the next confession. Bye.
Bye.